Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, Ancient Gladiator, and today in character creation, bringing Genesys by Fantasy Flight Games. This is a game with an interesting little dice system. It uses custom dice, although there's an app for it as well. But personally, I just like rolling physical dice. And yeah, the dice system involves having dice for your skills against dice that'll represent difficulty. And then there are things that can boost your chances of success or set you back. And then it's possible for there to be upgrades from skill to proficiency or from difficulty to challenge. And ultimately, what you're trying to do is, for a given test, is have enough successes. At least one success will mean you pass the test, but then there are other results will apply as well. So there's success. There's that's threat. So 2 successes and an advantage, but there's also a threat there. Successes mean you actually did what you need to do. Failures mean you didn't. It stopped you. An advantage is a little something extra on top of whether you succeeded or failed. A threat is something that might hurt later. Success or failure aside. And then there's triumph, which is a success plus a special extra advantage. And then there's despair, which is failure plus a little bit extra threat. There'll also be a need for 2d10 D percentile. And you also need some tokens to represent story points. But ultimately, you'll have your character generation, which is, you'll have your background, which is, some questions you'll ask. You'll have your archetype and species. Like there will be average human, laborer, intellectual, aristocrat. Depending on your setting, there may also be like a species, like if you're playing, I don't know, like Twilight Imperium universe or whatever. This being one of them, one of the other ones. But once you have your archetype or species, you'll have a career such as explorer or socialite or tradesperson. Depending on the setting, you may also have careers like hacker or mad scientist or wizard. And then you'll invest your experience points. Usually they'll just start with like 100 or give or take to increase your characteristics. Your characteristics are agility, brawn, cunning, intellect, presence, and willpower. I believe they should pretty well speak for themselves at this point. Average value for a given characteristic is 2. But then your archetype will determine whether things are altered. And those characteristics can sometimes have a hand in how difficult things are, or how well things can go test-wise. You can improve characteristics by spending XP equal to the new value times 10. You max out at 5. You can train skills equal to and spend XP equal to the new value times 5. If it's for your career, if it's not for your career, then it costs 5 more. And then talents equal to your tier, to the tier value of the talent times 5. And it's built like a pyramid system. You have to have more tier 1s than tier 2. You can have any number of tier 1s, but if you're going to have any tier 2s, you're going to have enough tier 1s first. And once you have enough tier 2s, you can get tier 3s. Kind of reminds me of the tech pyramid system from Civilization board game. The Kevin Wilson one. And then there's figuring out your derived attributes. Wound threshold, which is brawn plus your species or archetype bonus. Raising your brawn over the course of character creation is not going to... Well, over the course of the game. I think character creation should still boost it up. But you have until that's over. Strength threshold, which is your will, which is your mental defense. Actual defense itself, which is how difficult you are to hit, but it's based more on your armor and your positioning, like being behind a wall. Otherwise, you have a defense of 0. Then there's your soak value, which is based on your brawn and your armor, and that can go up with brawn. But then, yeah, you'll have those figured out. Then you'll have your motivations. So there's things like desire, fear, strengths, flaws. It's a D100 table, but really there's only 10 results, so you'll probably just roll that instead. But you can also, those are like mainly examples anyway, so you might as well just put maybe a little bit extra thought into it. And finally, there's your gear, your appearance, your personality. Depending on the settings, certain gear will be available. You know, certain things. Other things will not be available. But yeah, a lot of it's gonna. A good amount of it's gonna hinge on your setting, like fantasy, modern, futuristic, weird history. So this is like the kind of the generic system that Fantasy Flight came up with, and apparently the book line is dead. I'm not sure how much more available things that are still left in the line are going to be. I mean, it's an interesting idea. The only other kind of general system I've seen has been GURPS, which just uses like 3d6, but I don't know. If you have a setting idea and you don't really see a game that captures it better, maybe this is one to go with. I'm considering this for an idea deep in my head called Uncity that I still want to make real somehow. But yeah, I'm just hopefully it's not too hard to find a book these days, and just maybe check it out, give it a chance. You never know, it might be something good. I wish I knew for sure. I still need to play one of these things. But anyway, see you next time. It's been Pillar. Later.